There are times that blacksmithing can feel a bit like an addiction, and like any addiction, it can get rather expensive. So how then can we go about funding our creative interests in blacksmithing? Now, we've talked about pricing your work in the past, and we've talked about selling online, selling at art shows, craft fairs, things like that. And I just want to do a little bit of an update today on kind of where I'm at in my business and how I'm looking at doing things in the future. And that applies to what I'm doing here on YouTube as well, because it's all connected. And in reality, YouTube might be one of the ways that you can fund your blacksmithing in your own shop. It's not easy. It's probably easier to make things and sell stuff than it is to be successful on YouTube. But it's absolutely possible to succeed on YouTube. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. Now, the last time we talked about this, I was kind of moving away from Etsy and moving towards my own website, and I kind of want to do an update on where I'm at with that, and then talk a little bit about my business in general and what I'm doing and how I'm changing things as things evolve here at Black Bear Forge, and as I get older and start losing interest in some of the things that work but require a bit more energy and more hustle than I really want to put forth these days. Now, as far as Etsy's concerned, I kind of moved away from Etsy. Etsy was getting too big. It's moving away from just being handcrafted. There's too much AI created stuff. There's too much mass produced stuff that's being sold as handmade, even though it obviously isn't, because you can find multiple sellers selling the exact same thing. And I was going to go to my own website. It was easy enough to set up using one of the popular website creating programs and using some of their add-ons, plugins, other businesses that mesh with that. I could create everything I needed to do to sell online. Unfortunately, the website never did very well. I shut the Etsy shop down or put it in vacation mode so nobody could actually shop there, and had a message that said, go to the website. But the website sales never really took off, and when I had both the Etsy shop and the website up and running, Etsy outperformed the website. So that was a little bit disappointing, and unfortunately some of these plugins that help you with the website, things that calculate the shipping and help you print shipping labels so it's easier to ship things, the plugin that does sales tax, all that kind of stuff, always seemed a little bit glitchy to me. It seems like they didn't always pick up the information they were supposed to pick up, and you go to ship an order, but the shipping software doesn't have the order, so you got to go relink the website with the shipping program, or you got to manually enter the thing, and it was just taking way longer to ship an order, although there were a lot fewer orders on the website, but it was just a lot more work to ship than I really think it should have been. And the thing that really bugged me at the end of the year, went to file my state sales tax, because if you're doing your own website, you have to collect, report, and remit sales tax. That is your problem. The website hosting companies don't take care of that for you. I found out the add-on that I was paying for never correctly calculated the sales tax. There's very few orders that I needed sales tax, only the orders right here in Colorado that I have to collect sales tax for. I don't meet the criteria for collecting sales tax in other states, but more on that in just a moment. But anyways, it wasn't doing that. So now something that I should have been able to go to and say, okay, how much sales tax do you collect? This is what I owe the state, and pay that. None of that information was there. I had to figure that out on my own, file my sales tax, and it just didn't work the way I wanted to. And sales tax is always one of those great big hassles. Like I say, I don't have to worry about sales tax in other states at this stage, but there are criteria in every state, and they're all different, on when you have to collect sales tax as an out-of-state dealer. You reach a certain number of sales, a certain dollar amount of sales. You have somebody distributing your work, maybe a wholesale company, consignment shop out of state, something like that, might get you into the point that you have to collect and pay sales tax. And I have no idea what all those thresholds are. I don't really want to find out that I missed doing what I'm supposed to do when the tax collector starts knocking on your door and saying you're being fined because you did not collect sales tax properly. And this plug-in for the website was supposed to help take care of all that for you and tell you when you got to those points. But it wasn't functioning properly, and because the website was kind of a hassle, it wasn't earning much, I decided to take all of the shopping cart functionality off of it. Still have the website, still like having my own website. And I think having a website is important for anybody that's in business. But I've now gone back to Etsy as my sales platform. Etsy brings a customer base with Etsy. There are people that are just on Etsy looking for things. They aren't looking for you specifically as a blacksmith. They are looking for blacksmith goods. So you're more likely to be discovered by people who have never heard of you on Etsy. So that's a benefit. Then of course, because people are actually dealing with Etsy, it's more like a consignment shop where you've got a little booth inside somebody else's store, and the people running that store are responsible for dealing with the sales tax. And that's what I like about Etsy. They collect, remit sales tax. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It's way easier to deal with invoicing and shipping and all that through Etsy, which is regrettable because I would rather have it be that easy through my own website. But on my own website, I got to take the order, I've got to copy all that information into another piece of software to create an invoice, I've got to deal with another shipping program, I've got to deal with another tax program. And on Etsy, all of that is in one place. You open Etsy up, you print the invoice, you put it in the package, you print the shipping label from Etsy, and Etsy has greatly discounted shipping compared to what I was paying from my own website. And that discounted shipping then helps offset the fact that Etsy's fees are a little bit higher. But then you factor in that I make 2 or 3 times as many sales through Etsy. It's just seemed worth it. Now, if Etsy decides to get really goofy again, and you hear all sorts of things out there about people just losing their shop and Etsy never tells them what they did wrong or why they got shut down, if that happens to me, I will probably just be done selling customer product through any kind of an online storefront. I might still sell things individually, post them on Instagram, say this is for sale. If somebody wants it, I'll deal with them on an individual basis. But I'm probably not going back to having online shopping on a website. And it's just up to how Etsy treats me, how long I'm going to keep using the Etsy platform. Now, I know that's probably kind of confusing for a lot of people who are trying to figure out what they want to do. Etsy can leave a bad taste in your mouth, but in the end, it works better and is making me more money than my own website was. So that's what I'm going to do for the time being. It's what's best for my business. Now, in the grander scheme of things, customer sales are only part of my business, and I'm trying to get away from repetitive items as customer sales. Over the years, I've had certain things that sell really well. I get really good at making them, so I cut my time way down, but the price can remain the same because it's a fair price to the customer. So every time I can shave a little bit of my time off through more efficient practices, more efficient tooling, and just being better at doing my job, that means my income and my profitability goes up. Unfortunately, those things are just a job. They're just work. Those are not the creative expression that I really long for these days. I want to be a blacksmith that creates things that challenge me and that are not just the same old thing day after day, week after week, year after year. And sometimes those things do sell. I can put those things on the Etsy shop. I can take them to a local consignment shop. If I ever get enough things like that and they are high-end enough, and I'm talking thousands of dollars for a project, maybe I can get into an art gallery. But although there are no high-end art galleries around here, so I'd probably have to go maybe all the way up to Denver or maybe up into the mountains to one of the ski areas, Aspen, Vail, somewhere like that. Maybe I'd get lucky and go down to Taos or Santa Fe. Right now I don't have the body of work or the type of work that really presents well in an art gallery, so I'm not doing that. But that would probably be the ultimate making product for sale, because I can make the things I really want to make and have an outlet for them without having to be repetitive, and I don't have to make the same thing over and over again. I can make a series of things where I make one and say, okay, change this a little bit, change that a little bit, adapt this and make the next one and then do that again, and maybe make 3 or 4 things that are a series progression, each one as a unique standalone piece, and each one would then be of interest to a different customer. I don't know if things will ever work out that way, but that would be the ultimate goal for me. And then I would get away from online sales almost entirely. I'm not trying to discourage you from selling things online. I think it's a great way to fund your blacksmithing. I've been doing that for years, since the internet started to become popular. I think my first website was in 1998, 1999, something like that. So it's been 26, 27 years that I've been selling online. I'm just reaching a point where personally, I don't want to put all of my effort into that. If you're just getting started, I think it's really a good idea. So whether you use your own website, Etsy, eBay, whatever there is out there, that's entirely up to you, and it's worth exploring some of these different options. So where does that really put my business if I'm not making as much customer product and not making the things I know are going to sell, trying to do more creative things that maybe will sell, maybe won't sell, maybe I don't even have a place that I can sell them? What else helps fill that gap? And maybe this is the place for that classic Venn diagram to come into play. We got a whiteboard. If only I could draw a circle. So if we start with the things that you love to make, ideally, everything fits inside that circle. Ideal doesn't really come into it though, because that's never the case. Then we have the circle that things you know make money. And over here, we have a third circle. And that circle represents YouTube videos. And yes, YouTube videos do fund a lot of my blacksmithing these days. Now, like I say, in an ideal world, all three of these circles are stacked one on top of the other. You just make the things you love to make, the things you're inspired to create. And if it's not something you need in your home or in your shop, it's something you just made because you wanted to experience making that thing, then that is something that can be sold to a customer. And those customers are lined up waiting for you to have something for sale, so it's easy to get those things out the door. They pay you a fair price for it, and while you're doing all that, you make a YouTube video about it, and the YouTube video makes a little bit of ad revenue, maybe gets a sponsor, maybe brings in some channel membership, something like that. But the reality is the overlap right in here is very small. And even the overlap between the things that I really want to create and what sells, or what I want to create and what makes interesting YouTube videos that the majority of you want to watch, is also quite small. And it becomes a matter of balancing all three of these things, spending a little time on each one, or at least on the creative side, and one of the two that produces an income. Now, this YouTube channel here, Black Bear Forge, has been around since 2012. That's 13 years for this channel. I actually had another channel before that, but when YouTube changed some email requirement and the way your account was set up, I didn't realize it was a requirement, and I've lost access to that channel. Whatever it is still exists out there somewhere, but I can no longer get into it, edit it, add videos to it. So I created this new channel. And I started taking this seriously probably in 2017. So we're going on 8 years of taking it seriously and 13 years overall. They say the average lifespan of a YouTube channel is 7 to 10 years. So I'm well into that. But we're still going strong. We're still getting good views. I still like making videos. So I plan to keep doing this for a while. However, this goes back to doing what you love versus doing what's popular and what sells. And even though I'm not selling a physical product, I'm making videos. You have to do what people want to watch. The gate project, I have loved working on that gate. I'm going to get that gate finished hopefully in the next couple of months. I keep getting distracted by doing other things, but we are still working on it. Still going to make more videos about it. But unfortunately, those are not the kind of videos that do well on YouTube in general, because that is not what the larger YouTube audience is interested in. And I've known this for a long time, but I keep hoping that they will do well enough that the YouTube income will fund the business. I don't have to worry so much about customer product, and I can keep doing all the things I love. And for everybody that watches those videos, thank you so much for watching them. It really means a lot to me. But the reality is that those videos do not perform as well as some of the other video topics that we presented in the past. And I'll tell you right now, if you want to do YouTube as a blacksmith and hope to eventually build a channel to make money, that's not something that happens quickly. It's going to take 2, 3, 4 years before you ever start making any money at all off YouTube. But the videos that are popular, I think Torbjorn Amon said it best, sharp and dangerous are the videos that perform the best. So knives, axes, woodworking tools, things like that are some of the videos that perform the best. When I started this channel, it was really popular on YouTube to take a bunch of found stuff, garbage and essentially, and turn it into zombie apocalypse weapons. So it was a hunk of chain welded straight into a handle with a saw blade welded on one end and a claw hammer welded on the other side, or that kind of stuff. And those videos were getting millions of views. And when I started, I said, that is not what I'm going to do. I'm not here just to get the views. I'm not here just to pander to the audience that wants to do that. I want to present a different look at blacksmithing. I want to do things that are a little bit fancier, involve some forge welding, some more advanced techniques. I want to challenge myself and encourage you as a viewer to challenge yourself. So I don't make those videos that are the most popular. But if you really want to succeed and you're into knife making or sword making, you might do well on YouTube if you're willing to learn how to do the video side of it in addition to the knife making, the sword making. The other thing that does well, and something we've done a fair amount of here on Black Bear Forge, is beginner level. It's basic tooling, learning to make tongs, hammers, punches, chisels. And how do you use those tools? How do you punch a hole or split bars to make ornamental elements? Hot collars, how do you do rivets, how do you make rivet sets? All of that stuff can be quite popular. And while I've tried to move away from that because we've done all of that stuff before, I can see where there's still an interest in that. As new viewers come on, they don't go back and watch all the old videos, they're watching the latest videos. So you need to keep revisiting some of these topics on how to do some of these basic things. Basic shop setup. Some of my most popular videos over the last few years were the budget-friendly blacksmithing, building the backyard forge, looking at budget-friendly tools, small anvils, small gas forges. How do you make some of those basic tools just to get started, or where do you buy the very first pair of tongs so you've got something to work with while you make tongs? And all of those videos do quite well. So I realized that if I'm going to continue to provide value to you as a viewer, I need to maybe not worry so much about what provides value to me as a blacksmith when I'm making the videos. I'm going to keep doing the big projects like the gate projects. I've got more window grills I want to do for the shop. There are more doors I'm building. I'm going to be making more hinges, hardware for the doors. I've got a stair railing I need to make for the house, and I'm going to do all of those things, and I'm going to video a lot of that. But I've come to realize that that can't be the main focus of the channel. I need to get back to doing some more basic blacksmithing, looking at some simpler tools. Now, I'm not going to be shy about using power hammer, press, induction forge. Those are the tools I really use in my work. But I do plan to move forward looking at a lot more basic stuff. So it's going to be a wide variety of video topics. Sometimes it's going to be the big stuff using the big tools. Sometimes it's going to be little stuff using little tools. I'm working with a couple of different blacksmithing suppliers right now that will probably provide some basic tooling. So there's some beginner level things that are affordable and easy for you to get started with if you're just setting up shop. And yes, we're even going to look at some knife making, even though I don't really consider myself a knife maker. But it won't be the primary focus of the channel. There might be 1 or 2 videos a year on knife making. We'll even get back to making hooks and bottle openers, fancier bottle openers that require a little bit extra effort in most cases. But the big takeaway is there'll be a big variety of things, and that means YouTube videos that you're more interested in are going to get a little bit more revenue through the YouTube system. And that means I can afford to take time away from the endless production of customer products to work on the things that I'm more inspired to work on and make the videos about those things, even if those videos don't bring in much revenue. Now, as long as we're having an honest discussion about YouTube and what succeeds, if you are interested in a YouTube channel, YouTube ad revenue is generally not considered the most reliable source of income. It really fluctuates throughout the year and based on video topic. During the holiday season, there's lots of advertising, so you do pretty well. During midsummer, there aren't so many ads running, and therefore you don't make as much money through ad revenue. So you need other sources of income to go along with that, whether that's selling a physical product or selling digital plans or drawings, something like that, might be a way to supplement that YouTube income. Those of you who pay for channel members, that provides a little bit more reliable and stable income here at Black Bear Forge. And those of you who contribute through Patreon really make a difference. Now, the Patreon patrons do get the videos ad-free, and if the video is not specifically about an item a sponsor sent, they usually get the video sponsor-free. If it's a product review, taking the sponsored portion of the video out pretty much eliminates the whole video. So for instance, the video on the new welder or on the new vise, those were presented in their entirety for the Patreon crowd. I didn't edit that stuff out. But if it's just a little sponsorship mention that takes 60 to 90 seconds of the video, I usually edit that out for the Patreon crowd, so they just get the blacksmithing part of the video. And of course that means that sponsors also help fund the videos, and all of these things together make it possible for me to continue to invest in my shop here at Black Bear Forge, and gives me the freedom to make videos and not just make products for sale. I hope all of this makes sense. It's a long, rambly video. Just sitting here at the workbench may not be of interest to a lot of people, but sometimes I just need to get this stuff out, and instead of talking to myself in front of the bathroom mirror, I'd rather talk to you about it. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have time in your day to get out to your shop, make something, but stay safe, wear your safety glasses, and we'll see you for the next video, hopefully finishing these gouges.